Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Seifert. I'm the chairman and CEO of Ogilvy in North America. Welcome. We've gotten lots of email from many of you thinking, what the hell are you doing today? But we really appreciate the turnout. I'm surrounded by my two creative partners, Lars Bastholm, who is our Chief Creative Officer for Ogilvy Advertising in New York, and Steve Simpson, who is our newest arrival as my partner as Chief Creative Officer for Ogilvy in North America. The theme of the session this afternoon is Inside the Big Dumb Agency. We hope after the next 45 minutes or so we'll convince you that maybe we're a little less dumb than some of you all may think, or some of our critics. But the real spirit of this session this afternoon is to just sort of share some of the challenges, issues, opportunities that we see from our vantage point. We've got some questions from some of the industry's most challenging critics. We read a lot of what they have to say. We don't always like it, but we certainly respect their right to say it. And we also believe that actually it does provide a useful purpose, which is it challenges all to think about, is what we're doing every day really of value? Is it value to clients? Are we doing great work? And are we doing something that really makes our people proud? So we're hoping for an open conversation. We've actually put some of the questions from the critics on video, so you can hear them. If they're not in the room, you can at least see them on the screen. And in the spirit of openness, if you have a question and you don't want to wait for us to go through all of the experts' challenges to us, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll interrupt it. But off we go. So Lars.
I'm Cindy Gallop, founder and CEO of If We Ran the World, and formerly chairman of BBH New York. I've been working in advertising for 25 years, 16 of which was spent at BBH. How many Twitter followers do each of you have?
Well, maybe I should start with that one. I think somewhere around 4,500. Enough to make it a useful search engine and a good source of information. And I know that I follow you, Steve. Don't know if anybody else does, but I have a great pleasure in following you.
Well, there's nothing really to follow. Lars was very kind to start following me about 2 days ago, which I think raises my number of followers to 3. I have a very lowbrow use of Twitter. I follow cyclists, and they don't follow me back.
So I have 0 followers because I don't tweet, but I am an active follower of many people who I think are thought leaders in our business and beyond. My only plug for Twitter today is you must read Malcolm Gladwell's piece in this week's New Yorker, because it's a fantastic insight into the power of Twitter, or the not so powerful Twitter, depending on what you're trying to make happen.
All right, let's see if we can make this harder.
My name's Jonah Bloom. I'm currently working as an entrepreneur and a media consultant, but you probably know me as the former editor of Advertising Age. How would you persuade a skeptical procurement officer or CMO that Ogilvy isn't simply interchangeable with its closest rivals? And how would you achieve perhaps even a premium price for your services?
So I'm going to start off on this one. I don't think I have to tell anybody, tell all of you in this room, that maybe one of the biggest challenges we have as a business right now is communicating the premium value proposition of our agency, our people. And they're often two very different audiences. It is rare that you see the all-powerful CMO or CEO in the same room as the procurement head. And it's a battle we're fighting every day. What we are trying to do at Ogilvy is impress on clients 2 things. We are absolutely committed to giving them the highest caliber talent we can for their business, for the needs that they've identified. And we believe that our people deserve a premium price. And we are absolutely committed to lowering our cost of doing business in every possible way we can find. And what we are refusing to do, increasingly, though we've gotten into a bad habit over the years, of discounting our best people. That we are doing everything in our power to stop while we look for all kinds of ways of lowering our cost of doing business.
I think one thing that's definitely true is that brands are under pressure like they've never been under before. Their processes are more transparent. They receive consumer feedback kind of constantly. And in fact, I think our perceptions overall have changed about what we demand of a corporation and a brand. So I think that the people who kind of make the argument that our services should be commodity services, I think are really short-sighted. I mean, ultimately, companies and brands need guidance across all fronts in ways they haven't before, and they need agencies with more capability.
I have nothing to add, so let's go to the next question.
Hi, my name is Jonah Peretti. I'm CEO and founder of BuzzFeed. And my question is, how do you do innovative campaigns for risk-adverse incumbent clients?
What risk-averse clients?
Why is there laughter in the room?
Well, I mean, that is a really good question. The hardest thing about doing innovation is for the client to trust you, that what you're doing is the right thing and not just innovation for the sake of innovation. I remember a time when, in a previous lifetime, when I was talking to the CMO of a large corporation about a project that we were doing for them in Europe, and he pulled me aside after the meeting in a corner of the room and said, are you absolutely sure this is the right thing? Can you swear to me that we're doing the right thing by doing this project? Now, the project actually featured a human-sized hamster who was pretty good as a ninja as well. So his question might not have been so confusing in the context, but he said, all right, trust you guys. You've been doing good work for us for a while, so let's go with this. And it turned out to be a big success, both among consumers and on the awards circuit. But I think it goes to show that if you work for a long time with your clients, eventually they'll trust you, they'll let you innovate more. It's easy to come in as a small agency, which I've done as well, and do a quick one-off. And then you run into, all right, how do you follow that up without the knowledge of the client, the consumers, the depth of experience that you can tap into at Ogilvy?
Well, the hamster is totally cheating. You know that. When in doubt, a hamster. Yeah. I mean, I kind of think in general, it's kind of better never to surprise the client. So you have a relationship with them in which they're along for kind of every step of the way, so that by the time you get to this idea that otherwise would be really challenging to buy, they know how you got there, they know you're not being arbitrary, and you know you have their best interests at stake.
The only other point I would add is that I think one of the things we've really learned from what I call new age agencies who have really defined themselves on breaking out of conventional ways of doing things is that oftentimes the client is willing to experiment with them, right? Because their value proposition is clear. I am going to you because I'm willing to take a risk, and I know you do some risky things, and I may not like it in the end, and I may not hire you for very long, but at least I know what I'm getting, and I'm prepared to suspend belief. And I think one of the things we're trying to do is figure out how do you create that environment where you can experiment, you can bring the client in a sense that they're in a kind of innovation lab, or they're not just talking to the same people who've been working on their brand for 20 years or whatever, and feel they have that, but at the same time it's always presented in the context of, is this for the the medium and long-term good of the brand? So those are new conversations that we're trying to learn how to have as a larger agency.
My name is George Parker. I'm an advertising consultant, and I've been in the business a long time. In fact, I was in it before Genghis Khan invented the USP. Amongst other things, I write books and I write columns for various magazines, and I also write a couple of blogs, the most famous one of which is Ad Scam, The Horror, and that's where I invented the phrase BDA, or Big Dumb Agency. Has it ever struck you as amusing that the majority of BDA senior managers are more than happy to sit through a so-called working dinner at Nobu while discussing how best to sell cornflakes to an unmarried mother of 3 who lives in a trailer park in Mississippi?
Could we have the next question? So, I'm sure there are some of you in the audience who are from big agencies, medium-sized agencies, and small agencies. I don't know how many of us are actually sitting at Nobu anymore, drinking, really expensive wine and talking to clients about things that we know nothing about. I mean, the fact is, and this is actually one of the accusations that really makes me crazy from George, is the idea that we're all a bunch of fat cats sitting around and just celebrating the fact that we're in this fabulous business, we get paid all this money. The fact is, I'm responsible for making sure our most senior people in the company, and that starts with myself, Shelley Lazarus, Miles Young, that those people are billed, that they are seen to be valuable to clients. I mean, Shelley Lazarus to this day, she's the chairman of our company. She doesn't have a day-to-day management responsibility. She is still on the staffing plan for American Express, and they pay for her. And they pay for her because they have heard her wise counsel for years and years and years and years. And that is, that is the standard by which every senior leader in our company, I can't speak for others, are held accountable. If you're sitting around and seen as nothing more than a, let's go out and have an expensive meal or have a drink, no client that I know of today wants to have that. So, there's two parts to this question. Are senior leaders sitting around wasting everybody's money and time doing that kind of stuff, and do they actually understand the latest consumer insights and how people buy and different demographic and socioeconomic trends? And the fact is, that's what we're paid to do, or we get fired.
And growing up in Copenhagen, looking across the pond over to the US, to New York, wanting to come over here and work eventually, this is wildly disappointing because I was looking forward to those dinners at Nobu.
I can't let one thing escape. So this was filmed in Sun Valley, Idaho, this enclave where I think, George can't really pose as the tribune of the people, because I think that, unmarried mother of three who's clipping coupons for cornflakes is probably not in the same spots in Sun Valley that he is. Sorry, it's a jibe, but it was fun.